Hey stars, it's me, Shard Star, and I'm back. I would like to start off this video um, saying thank you to my supporters for the last two videos I did on my family and friend vacation on Valentine's Day week, a little ski trip. I decided to open up myself a little more to you guys. It was Valentine's Day weekend, a time for lovers. So I wanted you to see and actually meet my other half and my better half. I again appreciate the support that I've received from those videos. Okay, starting off this video, I want to say rest in peace to the Notorious Big's mother, Valletta Wallace, who passed away last Friday at the age of 78. Okay, um, I'm sure some of us or most of us are aware of who Miss Wallace was. She was very vocal for her son and about her son. So again, I wanted to extend condolences to Mrs. Wallace, family and friends and fans. Okay. Also, while investigating that little story and just reading up on some things, I found that rapper Tiger, he also lost his mom very recently at the age of 53. So I also wanted to send out a rest in peace to Tiger and his family and his friends and his fans. And you know, rest in peace, ladies. Okay. Well, we've been talking about these plane crashes and different plane accidents and just mishaps that's been going on allegedly, as far as I'm concerned, since the new president has taken office. I'm just stating the fact. I don't remember having any of these issues or to this point before Mr. Trump taking office again. This is some lemon ginger tea. It's still officially winter here. So that's what I'm drinking. Um, we're talking about constantly just talking about plane incidents and things like that. Well, waking up just this morning, because some of the things I don't even report on, it's like, after a while, it's like, what in the world is really going on? You know what I mean? So just this morning, a Delta flight from Los Angeles had to make an emergency landing. And I'm like, really? So again, a Delta flight from Los Angeles makes emergency landing due to smoke on board. Um, this is happening like so frequent. It's so crazy. I'm hearing some people state that it's because Mr. Trump is laying off certain people here in the government and certain people there. I don't know how that affects the FAA or the controllers of the air. I'm not quite sure, but this is not normal. Okay, this is not normal, and also it's happening way too much. Listen, could you imagine being on a flight? Okay. Now, this is something that happened just this past Thursday. Can you imagine being on a flight and you're about to land and you hear over the loudspeaker, brace for impact? This is what your pilot is saying over the speaker to you, the passengers, to prepare yourself and brace for impact. Well, that's exactly what happened on an American Airlines flight this past Thursday. The jet reported an emergency, according to passengers on board. The aircraft, operating as their regional carrier, American Eagle, was traveling from Jacksonville, Florida to Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, when they had an emergency. And for some reason at that time, the pilots felt it called for them to let the passengers know that they should be bracing for impact. Everything worked out fine, but can you imagine hearing that as you're landing on a flight? You may have your kids next to you, you may have your loved ones next to you, you may have your grandkids, you may have a newborn baby. Just can you imagine? And this is something that seems to be occurring pretty often. Now let's talk about the flight last week that um, landed and flipped over at Toronto's Pearson International Airport. Um, I, I, I don't even know what to say about that. With 76 passengers and 4 crew members, the plane landed, went to its side, and flipped over. We've seen the video, we've seen the pictures. How do you explain that? I do know that from looking at the grounds of the airport, it was covered in snow, so I don't know if that had something to do with it. But what I do know, which I've actually never heard of, and please tell me if you've heard of this, because I've never heard of something like this happening. And then immediately, Delta offers every passenger on said plane $30,000, no strings attached. I don't know what that means. I don't. I don't know what that means. I remember here in New York, we had the birds that was attacking the plane. They got into the way of the plane, and the pilot had to do an emergency landing in the Hudson River. And they give them people no $30,000, no strings attached incentive, because no strings attached means I'm giving you this, but yet you can still go into litigation and sue me later. So I don't know what that is. I've never actually heard of that. I don't know if it's because it happened in Canada. I don't know. But again, they have offered every customer on the plane $30,000, no strings attached for this. So I don't know. I've never heard of it. Hey, it is what it is. I mean, no, there were no injuries. I mean, there were injuries, but there were no fatalities. No one passed away or anything. So I don't know. I guess we'll hear a little more about that this week, I'm sure. Now, I've been hearing about Texas. Now, tell me if I'm wrong. I've been hearing Texas. Texas is having this measles outbreak, and it grew from 58 people to 90 people in 3 days. So that would mean 32 people got caught into this measles outbreak within 3 days. That's a lot of people in 3 days. But what I'm finding problematic about the reporting of this, I'm seeing that a lot of news outlets that are speaking of it are stating that Texas has this outbreak. Well, guess what? It's not just Texas. After doing some investigative work, that's what I'm here for. Joking. It says Texas faces a growing measles outbreak as cases nearly doubled in 1 week. Most infections are from unvaccinated people, but this outbreak is in New Mexico, Georgia, and New Jersey. Now, I have heard about it in New Jersey a little bit, but they're also talking about the bird flu that's here in New Jersey. So that's just a whole other beast. But yeah, I'm keep hearing Texas has this measles. It's not just Texas, people. Listen, we are still in flu season. We still need to wash our hands. We still need to protect ourselves. I'm going to go back a little bit to the pandemic. My my household, we did not catch COVID-19 during the shutdown and everything. We wound up catching COVID-19 when everything opened up and it was business as usual. I guess we let our guard down and that's what it was. But during that whole time of being locked down and stuck at home and working from home, my household did not catch COVID-19. We stopped visiting people. We stopped people from visiting us. We would go out for our store runs and everything like everyone else, but we didn't bring our clothes into the main part of the house. It came straight through the back door and into the laundry and being sanitized. It was just certain things we did. And I am with a clean freak. My partner, I mean, from Lysol, we were up to one point spending like $20 for a can of Lysol, I remember. So nevertheless, when I go to the supermarket, even as of yesterday, I wear masks in the supermarket. Any place that's crowded with so many people, I'm going to wear masks because it's not only COVID, it's the flu, it's just everything. So listen, people, I want you guys to still protect yourselves. Wash your hands as much as possible. Wear a mask. I don't care if I'm the only one in this supermarket wearing a mask. I don't care. I don't. I don't. I get to go home and I get to live another day. Okay? So, period. Now, we've been hearing so much about since Mr. Trump has taken office, and we've been hearing so much with the DEI programs and the rollbacks from different companies. Well, just this past Friday, a judge largely blocked Mr. Trump's executive orders ending federal support for DEI programs. I think it's on hold. They block it for now. So we have to see. We already knew what we were coming into for the next 4 years. I don't think any of us can actually be prepared for it because we just don't know what it is. But this President Trump has now been president again for 1 month. And most of these executive orders and things were done first day, first week. So we've been going through these things for the past few weeks now. So nothing should be a major surprise to you, you know? Now, also speaking of Mr. Trump, how many of you are aware that Elon Musk has 13 children by 4 baby mothers, allegedly? Are we aware of that? I wasn't aware of that. So Elon Musk's estranged daughter, she says that she learned about her new siblings, which is the CEO's 13th child, through social media. So I wasn't surprised at that. The fact that they said estranged let me know that they weren't in contact. They're not in each other's lives for whatever reason. And I don't think that she's the only child that he has that this is going on. But I was not aware that Mr. Musk had 13 kids by 4 different women. I didn't know that. Okay. And I mean, it may not be that big, may not be that important, but I just thought that I found it interesting. I was like, wow, he's been busy, really, really busy. Okay, so I'm sure that a lot of people are aware of Clarissa Shields. She's the female boxer, and there's been some things going on with Remy Ma, allegedly, and her estranged husband or ex-husband, soon to be Papoose, is now supposed to be dating Miss Clarissa Shields. Well, I found out that Miss Shields has been suspended from fighting in Michigan for testing positive for marijuana. Now, I don't know, because now that marijuana is legal in so many states, I don't know if we look at it as a threat or such a big deal anymore. I don't look at it as a performance enhancing drug, so it definitely wouldn't make her fight better. But I guess you need to be alert and aware of everything and not being under the influence. So yeah, so Clarissa Shields, boxer, has now been suspended by Michigan for testing positive for marijuana. So I guess we'll see where that goes. Have you guys heard about the story with this happened in Jacksonville, Florida? Okay, a young man with the name of Jason Arrington. He was driving and he ran a red light. This has happened on December 13th, 2024. Okay. He ran a red light. And just to let you know, in Florida state allows a person to carry a concealed weapon or firearm with a valid concealed weapons license or without a concealed weapons license, provided that the criteria for obtaining a license are met. That's a little confusing because that means I can apply for the concealed weapons, but even if I don't have the license, I can carry as long as the criteria are met to get the license. Whatever. What's the sense? But nevertheless, this young man was pulled over on December 13th, 2024 for running a red light. It was a female officer and a male officer. When they approached Mr. Arrington's vehicle, he stated to them that he had a firearm. They were there. I watched the video. You can watch the video if you go online. It's there. And it shows it pretty much from the stop to when until the story ends. So, um, he states to them that he has a firearm on his hip. They once they realize that he has a firearm in his hip, they want to kind of get control of the situation in case anything happens or go awry. So they ask him to step out of the car. As he steps out of the car, I guess they're patting him down and they're attempting to disarm him for no crazy reason and not any for anything, just that they want to have control over the situation at that time, which I completely understand. So I also hear the male officer state, "Thank you for being very upfront and honest about having a firearm. Can you please step out of the car?" He steps out of the car, no rough handling. They turn him around, they're patting him down. Then the female officer comes over and she, I assume, allegedly, she's attempting to disarm him, take the gun out of the holster or the holster off of his pants. I'm not quite sure. But nevertheless, she's having a hard time getting the gun, his firearm, out of the holster. And somehow the firearm goes off and shoots the man in his leg. So the man is now shot with his own firearm. As I watched the video, things didn't get too crazy. They attended to him. But the woman officer who actually, what happened is look, you have gun protocols and you have gun training, firearm training. And as an officer, you know how to deal with it and handle a gun. And you always assume that it's loaded, even if you don't know if it's loaded. You assume that it is. And you also know with with gun training, and you know that you cannot apply any type of pressure to the trigger. Anything, it depends on what type of pressure. So with her taking the gun out and trying to get it out of his holster, her fingers touched the trigger, which added pressure to the trigger, which allowed the gun to go off and to shoot Mr. Arrington in the leg. Well, it's now being investigated, and they are now trying to terminate this woman officer because she knew better. You've been through the academy, you know gun protocol, you know that you don't tussle, and this is not a fight. You're trying to get the man's firearm out of a legal holster. You know that you can pull your gun out of your holster very easily, but anyone standing next to you or coming up to you should not be able to pull your gun out of your holster as easy. There's an angle to it. For those that know. Um, so now Mr. Arrington is now suing. Again, going back to the story, they state the protocol. They actually treated him very good. They carried him to the side of the road. They tried to apply, bandages to stop the bleeding. They called for backup. They called for an ambulance. And now Mr. Arrington is suing. He says that he has a hard time, he has a hard time getting things done at work, meaning his job is a very physical job. And now, since he's been shot in the leg, this happened December 13th, and we're now in February, I'm sure he's still healing from it and he's unable to work and do things. So he's now suing. I'm not surprised. I think that they're hiring some of these officers a lot younger. I think that the training in the police academy, I know you need these officers out on the street and doing what they need to be doing, but I think apparently you're returning too many officers back to the academy to be retrained. So maybe training should be a little longer and a little more extensive. That's all I'm saying. So, we've been hearing about President Trump's deportation and, just this is pretty sad, guys, because we're thinking about people that are being deported, and what happens is I forgot not forgot, because I heard a few stories in the past couple of weeks where parents are preparing their kids with writing down all the information that they can have for them, even having other family members' numbers and stuff in case something happens while the kids are in school and the parents are picked up by ICE and, separated from their children. So I have heard that people have been somewhat preparing their children for separation if it happens. You know what I mean? So this young girl, 11 years old, was apparently being bullied in school. Um, and she was bullied and told, I want to get it exactly right because you see, children are not prepared mentally. When you say something to them, for us, we know it could be momentarily, but for them, it's little. And when someone says, this 11-year-old girl was threatened by classmates that they were going to call ICE on her family and have them separated and deported. And this little 11-year-old girl took her life because she was scared. She didn't have the capacity to understand that separation can be momentarily, but you can be reunited. To her, it meant the end of everything that she knows. And this is how this thing with immigration that's going now is affecting the children. They are going to school, but they're like zombies. They're not learning. They're scared. They don't know what to expect during the course of the day. They don't know what to expect from police officers. They don't necessarily know the difference between an ICE officer and a police officer. When they see an officer, they're instantly threatened. These are children that only thought is being separated from their mom and their dad and their family and their life that they know. So this young 11-year-old girl, um, took her life. This happened in Texas. Like I said, her classmates was tormenting her and telling her they want to call immigration, customs enforcement, which is ICE, and have her family separated and deported. Her name was Jocelyn Rogo Carranza, and she passed away on February 8th after spending 5 days on life support being treated at a Dallas hospital. They do not tell us how she passed away, but we do know that she took her own life at 11 years old. And we have to think of the kids. I don't care if they were born here or not, they are children. They're being brought here. They're not coming here on their own, they're being brought here. They're innocent. And being separating these kids from their families, that's all they know. There may be a language barrier. It's just so many things. And for this 11-year-old girl, because that's what she was, to be tormented in such a way where she was so scared that she took her life, she would rather not be here and be separated from her family. This is just something else, and I think that people are not taking that into consideration, how it's affecting the children also. You know, I honestly, I'm going to show you a picture of the little girl because she deserves to have a face to her story, and this would be her. Just give me 1 second because I wasn't going to show her, but here we go. This is the little angel, 11 years old. Okay. Um, I don't know, guys. We talk about immigration and deportation, and we talk about those things, but we're forgetting about the children too. We're thinking, and she could have very well been born here. I don't know the situation. I don't even know she could have been born here, but her parents are immigrants. They are here. They're undocumented. So of course, she may have a right to be here, but not her family. Um, we have to think more about others, people. We have to think about others. And, you know, um, there was a celebrity story that broke just yesterday, which I'm not going to get into because I don't think it was, I didn't think it was as important to this immigration story. But we will talk about Portia and her estranged husband, Simon Gabadia, in an upcoming video. I just think that we have to be informed and intentional. And for these kids to torment this little girl, 11-year-old girl, by telling her they want to call ICE and separate her and her family, is diabolical. They're kids too, so of course they're kids, but where are they getting this stuff from? Where are they getting this stuff from? It's the news, it's at home, it's everywhere. And we're not sitting our kids down and talking to them. These are some things that need to be explained. Children need to be set down and said, listen, this is what's happening. You, of course, are not going to talk to your child as if they are an adult, but you tell them in a way that they will understand and say, listen, things are going on, and there are people that are here that are not here legally. That doesn't mean that well, when you say legally, and people think, oh, legally or illegally, it's good or bad, but they're here illegal. And sometimes, there are going to be people that may come into your school or people you may see in the street, and explain to them a little step by step, as much as you feel your child can take, as much information as they can take in, that things are different, and explain, not to go to school and bully them. And if you think a person is not from this country and you're a little kid, how do you even know that? So that's a new joke thing, and I'm going to have you deported. Well, now know that 11-year-old children are now taking their lives of fear of this. Okay. And now my next, and this is my last story, but I thought this was interesting. Okay. Now, plenty of us have Easy Pass, right? Okay. Now, Easy Pass. Okay, let me show you exactly, because we've been hearing about how TikTok was trying to be disbanded and taken away. And I know some of you were traumatized a few weeks ago when you got up and realized that TikTok wasn't alive and kicking at that moment. But it came back within no time. So, no problem. Well, the reason that they want to ban TikTok is because they say that it's a security breach, and they don't want different countries, such as China and different countries, to get our information. It's just too much information out, and too many things going on. Well, come to find out that New Jersey Turnpike is now in control, meaning, okay, there's people go for contractors, right? And there are companies that bid to be in control of Easy Pass for the next 10 years or 11 years or whatever the contract stands, which means they'll do all the dealing with as far as money and information and everything would be. Well, come to find out that there's a company that just won the bid, the top bid, which was $1.9 billion, right? To run Easy Pass for the next 11 years. Meaning when you call customer service, you're going to get this company. It's going to be Easy Pass, but there are bids and other companies that are taking control over the customer service centers and things like that, which means customer service centers have all our information. They have our addresses, they have our phone numbers, they have our social security numbers, they have our bank account information, because a lot of us just pay our bills in that manner. Like, a lot of information. The same information that they claim they don't want TikTok to have. But yet we find out that there's a company that bid for the Easy Pass that won the bid for Easy Pass. Okay. And their bid was 1.9 billion. So they had the lowest bid, so they won it. So for the next 11 years, this particular company, which is called TransCore, okay? Now, TransCore has an office here in the United States, I believe Texas, if I'm not mistaken, but somewhere in the United States. But their main office is in China, which means it's a Chinese company down the road. You can cover it up however you want. You can have a United States name and a company, but TransCore, just saying, hypothetically, yeah, TransCore now is in charge of Easy Pass, which has all of our information, but the company that owns TransCore is Chinese. So make it make sense. You want to get rid of TikTok because of security, but now you allow a company that's owned by a Chinese company, which is TransCore. Okay, it's a Chinese corporation that owns TransCore that now won the bid and now controls Easy Pass with all of our information. How does that help us? How does that help us? Just wanted to put it out there to you again. Transcorp, which is owned by a Chinese corporation, is now in charge of Ezpass. They just won the bid to run Ezpass for the next 11 years. They were awarded an 11-year contract, $1.9 billion to run Ezpass customer service, which has all of our information that has Ezpass. So I just want you guys to be informed. So this is a lot of flip-flopping. So one or the other, are they going to ban Ezpass now, like they wanted to ban TikTok? I don't know, guys. My job is to make sure that my people are informed. I want you to be intentional. I want you to be informed. Like I said, even if you don't plan to do anything about it, you won't be able to say that you listen to me or you follow me and you don't know. Okay? Listen, we have a new coming week coming up. I wish us all a happy and safe and productive week. I love you guys, and I will see you guys soon. I have some more stories for you. I love you guys, and be intentional. Until next time.